You won't believe what this factory machine does. We live in an age where anything we could possibly want is readily available at the push of a button or the tap of a finger. Our lives have been transformed by the wonders of modern technology and consumer products. But have you ever wondered what it takes to make some of the things we use on a daily basis? Or rather, things we make use of on the regular? One thing for sure is that most, if not all, come from factories. The most fascinating factories. Number 9. Chewing Gum Processing Factory. Chewing gum originates, unsurprisingly, as either natural or synthetic gum. The gum resin was first extracted from trees, but most factories now use synthetic made from plastics and rubbers. This gum is first melted, sterilized, and purified, and then left to dry for a few days. The gum base that's added with flavoring and color, in addition to other ingredients, is added to create a bread dough consistency. It's then spun in a centrifuge to remove impurities before being cooked and mixed with softeners and sweeteners and other additives. The mixture is then kneaded and extruded to reform a smooth gum. It's then squeezed through tubes like toothpaste to become thin, manageable strips. This gum is then cut into sticks or pellets ready to receive the candy coating if required. These are then wrapped, ready for delivery. Number 8. Potato Chip Factory. Potato chips have since become a popular snack food. They have been made with fresh potatoes that are no more than 24 hours old, otherwise the chip will have black spots. First, potato deliveries are examined for quality and size. If acceptable, it is passed through a vertical helical screw to remove dirt and other foreign objects like stones. The potatoes are then passed through a water canal for cleaning that leads to the peeler. They tumble around and around against the peeler's abrasive rollers until the skin comes off. This amazing machine can peel 12,000 pounds of potatoes per hour. Up next, the potatoes are passed through a machine that separates the potatoes by size. The small ones easily fall below to be rinsed while the larger ones stay on top to be cut before being rinsed. Next, the potatoes go through slicers, which are revolving impalers/pressers that cut strips into different thicknesses and shapes with an average potato yielding 36 chips. This is because the slicer's blades are adjustable and can be set according to preference. For making ripple chips, for example. These slices are then washed with cool water for about a minute to remove starch and are then passed through an air blower machine to dry off excess water. These slices then become chips by getting passed through boiling oil at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. It takes just 3 minutes to fry the potato slices into chips. As the chips exit the fryer, the excess oil drips off. Next, the chips are passed through a shower of salt before going through a sorter that checks the chips for any defects. Those found with any issues such as black spots are blown off. At this point, the chips are as good to go if they are only salted flavor. However, for flavored chips, they are passed through a machine that sprinkles powdered seasoning on them to simulate flavors such as barbecue, salt and vinegar, and more. The next machine separates and weighs the portions to be packaged. The chips are dropped into bags that are then heat sealed. Funny thing is, this whole process takes about 15 minutes, which isn't even a quarter of the time it takes to finish eating one bag. Number 7. Candle Making Factory. Ever fancy to know how candles are made? Of course, candles are things we can make at the comfort of our own homes. But what happens when there's a demand for thousands of candles? There are many different types of machines that can facilitate the production of candles, but today we focus on the one you can see. Thanks to such machines, mass productions of candles is made possible. The machine seems to be engineered with various functionality. The most striking of them all is the even holes, which will be the candle molds. Inside each hole is a strong needle-like protrusion which serves as the guide for placing the candle wicks. These types of candles are made from paraffin wax, which is initially white and solid before it is heated to melt. The candle wick itself is made of cotton and synthetic fibers. To make candles, the melted paraffin wax is poured into the candle making machine. Cool temperatures of the candle making machine facilitate the paraffin to cool faster, forming the mold shape of the candle. The excess paraffin wax is cut off and the perfectly molded shapes are extracted. From here, the wicks are inserted and candles sealed. Number 6. Matchstick Factory. The factory was once called Pioneer Matchworks but rebranded to Asia Match Company in 1971. It prides itself as a household name that has lit up homes and hotels for over 70 years. The machines used to manufacture the matchsticks don't seem to require much power. First, a tree log is cut to a reasonable size and is fitted to a machine that is used to slice into a thin sheet, almost like hard paper. The machine is manually operated as the sheets are collected and piled up. From then, they are taken to a slicing machine where they are diced into individual small sticks. At this point, you can see them already taking matchstick formation. They are then layered and arranged in equal quantities. The tips are placed in a hot liquid that looks like wax, then later put in a thick liquid that later forms the black part that ignites the matchstick. To make this thick liquid, a cement grinding-like machine is used. They're let to cool off before getting to the packaging stage where they are precisely packed. Number 5. WPC Door Lamination Factory. Ever seen those cool 3D doors that weren't basic wallpaper? Their technology is made possible thanks to door lamination. Factories that offer such services use machines such as the WPC door lamination machine, which perfectly laminates film door surface. The whole process is satisfying to watch, to say the least. It starts with a basic plain wooden door which appears to be painted all white. A certain solution is sprayed to it before it is carefully placed onto the laminating machine. The laminating layer is placed evenly on the door with the excess cut off. It's then put to sit in place thanks to the metal cartridge. The door is then slid into the machine, and the binding happens. After a few minutes, the process is complete and the door is ready to go with new skin. Science is truly pretty crazy. Number 4. Crayon Factory. Crayons are commonly used by young children in almost every school, and artists also love to use them for their works of art. Have you imagined how a crayon factory looks like? Each crayon starts as paraffin wax and color pigment. They use paraffin wax because it is cheap and easy to melt. This type of wax also has a nice rub-off, meaning it leaves enough wax on the paper. The crayon mixture is heated and blended usually at high temperatures for about 45 minutes. The wax is then pumped into a rotary machine, which is simply a device that injects wax into mold machines. Just one rotary machine molds more than 2,700 crayons per cycle. While inside the molds, the crayons are cooled with cold water before forming the known crayon shape. After this step, the crayons are ready to be packed and can be wrapped with labels if desired. Number 3. Mirror Factory. No bathroom is complete without one, and no teenager can survive without one. Mirror, mirror on the wall, how did they make you after all? Mirrors first start as clear glass, then a robot lays each panel horizontally on a conveyor belt, which transports it to the washing station. Their sprayers blast the glass with water and cerium oxide, a powder derived from a type of earth. Rotating brushes scrub and polish both the top and bottom surfaces, removing oils and other contaminants. Next, pipes clean them with hot demineralized water before getting sprayed with metals. The glass is then passed through a series of painting and drying before finally being washed off with acid. The final step is checking for any defects such as bubbles, and if any is found, that part is cut out. And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber, so if you come across the photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. Screw Production Process. Searching for this image online led to a couple of results. It appears to be a factory operation going on. The closest result from this search was that this is a screw production process due to the spiral shapes on the metal. It looks like the metal is being molded into the screw-like shapes. However, there were other leads to steel casing pipes, which perhaps due to the steel in the photo. So, the first suggestion might be the best. Number 1. Fabric Factory. This is the one item on the list everyone owns. I mean, we all wear clothes. One thing to note is that most clothes, if not all, are made from fabric. The first step in creating fabric is yarn production. Here, the raw materials that have been harvested and processed are transformed from raw fibers into yarn and threads. This is done by spinning the fibers. Spinning can be done by hand, but this process is quite tedious and time-consuming. These days, the vast majority of spinning is done by spinning wheel. The fibers are drawn across the wheel, and as it spins, the fibers are collected on a cylindrical object called a bobbin. The bobbin holds the spun fibers, which are now connected into a long strand of thread or yarn. In the next step, the bobbins will be transferred to another machine where the yarn will continue on its journey into fabric. This fabric-making machine carefully joins individual threads of yarn in place to form the fabric. The machines are so precise you could spend hours watching them work with precision. The threads are separated with the help of a wrap unit that takes over 700 strands and assembles them, then a comb separates them. Other strands are added and over 7,000 strands will be aligned. The whole process involves genius engineering, and thanks to these advanced machines, the whole process is swift. These are some really cool factories. Looking forward to more satisfying factory videos in the future.